to Your Wealthy Self with me, Regina Martinelli. This show is about money and a whole lot more. Here we focus on expanding your capacity for money, success, abundance, and inner wealth, for you to have what's important to you inside and out so that you can be your wealthy self. This show is about honoring your wholeness, that you are enough just as you are, and you're enough to have what's most important to you with ease and joy. Whether that's freedom to have more success and money without guilt or shame, or maybe it's the ease of being unapologetically you, or having more certainty in your sense of purpose and feeling the daily joy or fulfillment within yourself. Whatever is most important to you, whatever makes you feel as you are wealthy both inside and out, we are up for you having. And our show is about helping you get there. Because we stand in, you can create whatever it is that's important to you without the struggle. You can do it with ease and certainty. And I do a lot of this through the lens of money. Why? Because money is a spiritual highlighter. Money reveals how much you engage with the world and how you engage with the world, how much you allow yourself to have, and how easily you allow yourself to have what you want. It highlights how much struggle you subconsciously believe you need to deserve your money or success. Sure, most of us would say, I don't believe I deserve any struggle. I have to have any struggle to have what I want. Consciously, we say that. But unconsciously, there may be a different belief or pattern running. So today's episode, we're going to talk about the wrong turns for the right wisdom in the map of life, which is really about it unfolding, right? So I invite you to go on this conversational journey with me as we follow the map of our life. So this topic all started out when I had a conversation yesterday. And it made me think about when we're doing one thing, we spend that time thinking we should be doing something else. Like we should be working when we're having a conversation with a friend, or when we're working, we should be spending time with loved ones, or when we are with loved ones, or we're on vacation, we think we should be doing work, or we feel the stress of like needing to get work done. And that loop just continues. We've all been there. You get what I'm saying. This is where you are not giving yourself permission to be where you are, or to be on the journey and how it unfolds. Because there's so much of us, so much of our mental consciousness and unconsciousness that is tracking what isn't working. When we're like, oh, we should be over here, we should be doing this, instead of just being where we are, we're tracking what is flawed, what is broken, or what is not doing what we think it should be doing. When we're coming from that place, it's really a place of being self-referenced. This is the tracking of the parts of you that are not working, where you feel like you are not enough, or you just need to be a bit more accomplished or feel deserving or worthy. This is us self-referencing the parts of us that we resist, parts of us that feel shame or that we're dismissed or we repress. And those parts that, again, tell us that we're not deserving, not worthy, and all of that. Or we should be doing something that we're not doing, we should be doing more of it, or we should be farther along in the game. But we know this is all BS because you are already worthy just as you are exactly in this moment. So given this as the context, I started to wonder about this need to be self-referenced about our complaints. When we do this, it puts us at odds with our experience, ourselves, and our lives. Meaning that in our complaints, there is this inherent, there's something wrong, or I am wrong for being only this far along in my life or my business and still struggling with feeling worthy or abundant or having enough money to feel safe. Or my business isn't as successful as other people at my stage of my life. Whatever that noise is that comes up, these complaints are one way you turn against yourself. Because in these complaints, you are alluding to that there's something wrong with either who you are or how you are, or how you choose to get where you are. As if you're on the wrong path to yourself and this life that you're creating. Now, a wise man once showed me that the shortest distance to where we want to go is a straight line. Yet rarely do any of us, and I mean very rarely, does anyone ever get there by a straight line. It looks more like this. Like if you were going to go from New York to California, it would be a straight line, right? You go as easy as you could. But rarely does it ever look like that. It looks more like this, where you come in, you go up, you go down, you try this, you backtrack, you flip back around, you go up again, you come back down, and you go backwards and forwards, and then backwards and forwards. And eventually you get to where you were going, or you get to where you are. Even when it feels like you're going the wrong way, we don't see the folds and the turns of the gift of this wisdom. We think it has to look like this. And actually life is a little bit messier than that. And that's where the gifts of the wisdom, of the adventure, of a deeper way to know ourselves shows up. Isn't that what this life is about? Our relationship with ourselves. And through that, you can connect with others. Because if you don't know yourself first and accept yourself as who you are, then you cannot truly connect with others. Because in that trying to connect, you'll be projecting your wounds, your limiting beliefs, and your own expectations onto other people that are really about ourselves. They're really just about you. So a messy straight line to your desired life is the most direct way of getting to know yourself better and to accept your precious, beautiful, whole enough self that you already are. The suggestion here is to desire where you are, whether feel good, bad, or indifferent, but to desire the life and the experience of yourself as you are, as it is right now. Like you're in the middle of this chaotic mess and you really want to be in California, but just desire that you're here, And I can totally get that can be tough if you're not happy with where you are. Yet in resisting what's going on in your life, or resisting how your nervous system is sending you signals on the struggle, it keeps that nervous system activated and it keeps it in that place of setting off those alarm bells. Not to mention, it takes up a whole lot of energy to resist yourself. Whether you know it or not, you are quite powerful. Once you can stop resisting where you are, how you are, you can start to sort out your preferences. Preferences in how you want to experience your life and how you want to feel about yourself and how you want your life to look and who's in your life. Preferences are different than complaints. Complaints set us against ourselves. It puts us in a no-win situation. This is where we feel the shame of not being enough or not doing enough or not having enough. You fill in the blank. But it also has us self-reference as a victim. Meaning, I don't have this, I couldn't do Y, I always get the short end, my people around me, my family, whoever, or my boss treats me this way. These beliefs keep this experience on repeat in our life. It keeps us looping. These beliefs take away all the power that you have to create something you prefer to have instead. Because it puts you at the effect of someone else's attitude, someone else's judgment, someone else's beliefs or actions. This is a place where you believe it's the outside world that is against you. And it's just mirroring your internal views, really, of yourself. Because what if people were just being people and it had nothing to do with you? Those comments, those reactions, those eye rolls, those whatever it is. And life was just unfolding and unfolding. And it was not personal to you. What if it wasn't personal as we take it to be? What if it didn't matter who was standing in front of you or who was in that position at work, who was giving you a hard time? The same attitudes and actions would come out towards whomever was standing there. Meaning, let's say you have this boss and they're treating you in a way and not appreciating your work, or you don't feel valued or seen. Yeah. What if it's not personal to you? You leave the company and somebody else shows up, and that's just what this person does as an inner reflection of who they are. So being at the effect of that isn't very powerful. But if you can actually choose for yourself that it's not personal, then you can let them do what they do and be what they be and not affect you if it wasn't personal to you. I know that can be hard to take on because you're like, well, but then it affects this and affects that. But what if it didn't? What if it didn't? What if it didn't? It's about taking the subconscious victim stance out of it. So if it's not personal to you, then you can redirect your energy to something else and leave these people with the dignity of their own experience. Like, oh, they're being grouchy, they're grumpy, they're wherever they are, they're controlling. Okay, that's who they are. And even our own upsets with ourselves are not personal to us. They are belief patterns that we inherited. We were conditioned to believe, or safety strategies we created as very young children to make sense of something that definitely had nothing to do with us. Because our parents that we grew up with, the people who raised us, are dealing with all their own internal noise, and that gets projected out. And then we as little children take it to mean something about us. Then as we grow up, our brain, our reticular activating system, our RAS, starts to filter to repeat those patterns. And so we start bringing in people and experiences that were just like what we had when we were growing up. And it's not personal to us. It's just what we are conditioned or patterned. Because our grumpy parents, again, were dealing with their own childhood wounds and self-torment, and we took it personally. So let me offer this. To desire your experience of your life is key. So what if you were to desire exactly where you are, even if it's not one that you want, an experience that you want to have right now? Just to stop resisting it. Like, I don't have this, I don't have that, I wish I had this, or other thought. If you just even stop that, and we're really authentic with, this is where I am. And then you desire that experience so you can move through it and not get stuck energetically. This is different than just allowing your experience to be what it is. Like, okay, like my foot is broken. Okay, my foot is broken. Versus, I really wish I could walk, wish I could exercise, I wish I could go up and down the stairs, wish I could do all these things. No. What if it was, all right, my foot's broken. Like, oh, my shoes are tied or they're not tied. The door's open or the door's shut. The good part is you're not resisting it when you are allowing, but it's a bit passive. And what I'm talking about is if you were to desire your experience, you'd actively allow it to be what it is. Instead of like, the judgment and the recoiling. So you get curious about it. And you do this by checking it out, inspecting it from every corner, and allowing it to show all of itself to you so you get to know it. It's kind of like inviting an old friend you haven't seen in a long time to lunch just to see how they're doing. And you really want to know, and you ask questions and you listen. That's that same thing with desiring your experience. Because allowing it is like, oh, yeah, I'm really sad. Okay, great. That's the first step. The next step is, yeah, I'm really sad. Like, I'm going to feel this sadness. Because this brings authenticity to it. It allows you to own it and then choose something else. Because there's no resistance. And in the lack of resistance, you can choose something you prefer to have instead. Have you ever done this where you decide you want something and it shows up, then you realize, maybe I didn't actually want that? Yes, that's what I'm speaking to. Some part of you, a much, much younger part of you from a long time ago, decide this situation that you find yourself in that is not ideal or preferred, this situation was better than what came before it. See, this experience that you're having that you don't want to have, whether it's the anxiety, the overwhelm, the confusion, lack of clarity of what to do next, or the lack of feeling worthy, or having the kind of money that you want to have, or security, or freedom, this is all a strategy to move you away from something that was even less desirable than this. Yes, I did say that. This state that you're in right now, this experience that you're having, was the next best option on your menu from what was there before. This was a preferred emotional state that came before it. This is how our brain works. It always picks the next best thing on the menu. And something that came before it, which was probably something from childhood, and that this part of the brain hasn't updated to where you are now as adult that you are. So it's still thinking this is the best option for you. So it keeps reaching for this experience that you're having right now that you don't want to have anymore. You prefer not to. You want more clarity. You want more freedom, more calmness. You want to feel less rushed. Yeah, you're tired of the overwhelm. and the feeling not worthy, all that stuff. This feeling was better than the one that came before it. And I don't mean yesterday or last year, but something way back when you were a child. Because our younger selves are around, again, grumpy parents, people who are raising us, or in situations where we took something personally that wasn't personal to us. And we made it mean something about us. And we made it mean something about how we had to be or the strategy we had to employ in order to survive that, feel safe, belonged, or be less displeasing. The problem was that strategy was supposed to be temporary. And it's still going. It's still running decades later. So this is where we get wound up and caught in it. Because it's not the case anymore, because you're an adult now with way more capacities and capabilities to make sense of things. As a young child, you did not. You can realize that your parents were having an existential crisis. They weren't happy, or somebody was having a really unpleasant, grumpy experience, and that wasn't personal to you. It's just where they were. So understanding this, that some part of you chose this experience that you're in, that you no longer want to have, understanding that this was a choice at some point, helps you to take a moment to stop resisting it, to be curious about it, and start desiring it. And I don't mean it's not about trying to create more of this unpleasant overwhelm or confusion or anxiety. It's not about creating more of it. It's about going, yes, this is this experience. It's just for a moment, giving it grace, giving it the respect for its part in your expansion, in your growth, in your life that's brought you here to this moment. It's a very subtle distinction, but it's incredibly impactful when you can do this. If you can acknowledge that this is your experience and you created it, some level, at some point, then you can let it go. Once you can say, okay, without resistance, without recoiling, without judgment, then this pattern can complete. This is what helps to shift your experience. If you can get to this place of, okay, this is what this is. From here, then, once you get to that place of okay, you can ask yourself, now what would I like? This is where your adult self, your current self, gets to choose to have what they want to experience and create and what you want now. Not your younger self who was 3 or 5 trying to survive an intense traumatic situation. Because this helps your brain start to shift that old strategy, that old pattern, so you can create something new. One last thing. You have to be willing to bring your heart. To bring in your heart and for it to be open to give you its wisdom. So when your heart is invited into this space, everything shifts. That's authenticity. That is authenticity. And that's where the grace can come. And that allows the energy, that stuck old pattern, to move. It allows it to complete. So being willing to bring your heart to the conversation or the interaction, or when you are activated or caught in that survival strategy, in that loop that just keeps running, because it's there to keep you safe, when you can keep your heart open and bring it to that place and have compassion for yourself, when you're willing to do that, knowing that you are safe. Because there'll be so many things, patterns in your body, like the brain is running those patterns and the anxiety is going off and the overwhelm, because the brain's trying to make sure that you're going to survive. This particular part, the reptilian brain, it feels a threat to your survival. And it's not the truth, it's just an old pattern running. So when you're willing to come and able to come with an open heart and say, I am safe, then it's actually love that protects us, because love doesn't need to be protected. We cage our love up and wall off our hearts when we've had heartbreak. And sometimes that heartbreak is from our younger selves not getting the love that we needed, or the care, or the acknowledgement, or even the validation that we exist. And it may also be that we come to this world where these, when children are born, there are these bundles, these huge beams of love, and all they want to do is give the love and give the love. And when our love is not received, it's not received or it's not received well, that can be heartbreaking. That can be heartbreaking when that's all you feel you have to give. And that's what you want to give the most. The most precious thing is your love. And when it's not received well by those that we love, that we most want to give it to, that can be heartbreaking to the point it can be traumatic. Because children are so reliant on those around them to care for them, to feed them, for their survival, that when they won't receive the love that the child most wants to give, the child feels like their brain, the part of them feels like their entire survival is at risk. So then we have heartbreak, and it's so devastating that we don't want to take risks again. We don't want to open up. We don't want to share our heart again. We don't want to take the wrong path because we're afraid if we open our heart again, we'll have to experience that level of heartbreak, and it will destroy us or annihilate us in some way. And again, this is just a belief of a pattern that's running, because for that little younger you, that was such a huge heartbreak. But as an adult in a bigger body who has more capacities and abilities, that heartbreak isn't as big. It's not going to be as devastating. But there's a loop of our younger self that's running. It feels like it will be. And so it clamps down on our heart. It protects our heart. But it's not our love that needs protecting. Love protects us. It's not us who protects love. And when you can embody that, then it's easier to desire the life you have and the you that you are. And this is a potent place to choose what you want to manifest next, because you let go of the resistance. And knowing it is a straight line, it's the shortest way from point A to point B, but it's in this mess that comes the wisdom and the way to deeply know yourself better. And that is the joy of life. So if you got something from today's show, please share it. There's enough fear in the world. Let's create more joy. And there's enough shame and judgment. Let's create more joy. And if you know you need support, go to your wealthy self at e360tvlive.com and send me a note, and let's explore ways to work together. Or you can send me questions and comments to the same address, your wealthy self, E360TV Live. I will pop that up. There we go. Yep. Oh, there you go. Show. Look at that. And yeah, because I'd love to hear what your experience was. And make sure you tune in next week as we continue to use money as a lens to revise the old beliefs holding you back from having more clarity, freedom, prosperity, self-worth, appreciation, and daily joy. Or whatever it is that's most important to you. I love and adore you. You are incredibly beautiful and precious. Please know you are enough just as you are.